Welcome to the Daily Fortune, where we talk about the latest topics about finance and investment. But before that, please don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll know when we upload a new video. Now let's get started. In today's video, we'll be talking about Kevin O'Leary, a successful Canadian businessman, author, entrepreneur, in his speech about crypto blockchain, the need to have a policy, and Bitcoin mining.
I predict in the next 10 years that crypto, blockchain, Bitcoin, all of this innovation will be the 12th sector of the S&P.
Imagine yourself being an extremely wealthy Middle Eastern sovereign, managing funds of $500 billion. Kevin said you don't need more oil as an investment because you already own it.
So you go to an indexer like me and say, look, give me the S&P, less energy, less airlines. And that's what indexers do. So we as an industry get to see fund flows 24/7 every day. And there are billions of dollars out there waiting for policy.
Because for all of the excitement about Bitcoin, crypto, and all of the amazing productivity these products and blockchain promise, these big pools of capital, these trillion-dollar pools, hold this much crypto. I agree with what Kevin said. There's one thing we're missing. It's policy. It's not a bad thing when we get a policy, and the regulator regulates. The spigots of capital will pour into this industry like they've never seen before. So if you are wondering, why does Kevin believe that crypto blockchain will become the mainstream in the next 10 years? And why would the innovation be the S&P's 12th sector? Here's what Kevin answered.
Bitcoin is not a coin, it's software. Ethereum is software. Avalanche is software. Helium is software. Solana is software. It's all software. And the smartest hands over keyboards today in the world are developing on the chain and bringing innovation to financial services, which in the end is the largest sector on earth. Now, what we need is policy. We need government to catch up with us so that we don't lose leadership in America to this very important 12th sector of the economy. There's no question. So let me give you a quick update, because I've been spending a lot of time in Washington in the last 3 months, a lot of time. And the good news is, on a bipartisan basis, there are many senators and reps that are thinking about this in a proactive way. So I'm going to give you what I'm calling the 5 vectors of policy.
Kevin knows this because he has read a lot of those bills, and there's a lot of good innovation going on. To start, we'll talk about the bill that Cynthia Lummis will be announcing.
This is a very important milestone to have a senator come here and address this important sector with a bipartisan mandate. That signals that regulation is coming, and that is a good thing. That's vector number 1. Vector number 2, the president himself, in his direct order, his executive order, talked about crypto as something that he wouldn't make illegal. That was the most important message in there.
Bill Hagerty dropped a 2-page bill. Kevin spoke to him about a 2-page bill that would legalize stablecoins. This legislation is really brilliant, according to Kevin. If it's only 2 pages long, every senator will be able to read it. It's also pretty simple. What this means is that this isn't the same as money market fund.
Why can't we have a simple audit every 30 days with the underlying security inside of it, whether it be USDC or any other stablecoin? And why can't we limit the duration of the asset to 12 months or less? And then why don't we let the market compete to provide stablecoins, which are now way past $100 billion, and allow institutions to put this on their balance sheets?
A senator has expressed an interest in doing business. Kevin applauded this mandate because his own auditor will not allow him to do anything with a stablecoin in his operating firm because it is unregulated. So for everyone who is interested in crypto, perhaps the best approach is to pick on one pillar of value. And outside of Bitcoin, the stable currencies are one of the fastest growing asset classes. Kevin pleaded for help that this would become policy and law to see what happens. The reason you should be concerned is that if it is backed by the US dollar, it would become the world's reserve currency. Why would we ever give that to any other country? So the important thing to do is to regulate this, and let's unite behind this bill to make it happen.
And I'm not asking the federal government to write one line of code. That's not their job. Let the free market, let the private sector develop these stablecoin products and let them compete, just like Fidelity competes with their money market fund, like Schwab competes. They're regulated and everybody uses them when they have a cash balance on their account. Let's do the same thing here. That way, we have the innovators coding and we have the government regulating. That's a great outcome. It's coming soon. Now, let's talk about the minefields in the 5 vectors of policy. We'll start with the SEC. Now, I don't know if you read these memorandums, but a few weeks ago, they started proposing that in addition to financial audits in all companies that are public, in all 11 sectors of the economy, that they have a carbon audit, that they get somebody, if you claim that you're carbon neutral, you're going to get audited every quarter. Now, in the Bitcoin mining industry, where I'm a participant, the way we get carbon neutral is we buy carbon offsets. The problem with a carbon offset is the tracking error is so huge that no public auditor will sign off on those statements. You can say you're carbon neutral, but there's nobody going to sign it at the risk of being offside with the SEC. So if the SEC adopts that policy, that's bad for proof of work. And it's bad for Bitcoin mining because the first pioneers of this in the US,
they went to the offset market in the EU a few weeks ago and attempted to outlaw proof of work because they were concerned about the amount of carbon it was emitting. Now here's why Bitcoin mining will rescue the world if this policy is implemented. It's also mentioned straight deep in the president's executive order.
If this policy gets implemented, because it's also in the ESG mandate that Larry Fink at BlackRock put in place, and it's also mentioned directly deep in the executive order of the president himself. It's a direct swipe at Bitcoin mining. But why is Bitcoin mining good for the earth? Because the next generation of Bitcoin miners, and some of them are represented right here, are starting to work with energy that does not require carbon.
Hydroelectricity, nuclear power, wind power, and solar power are all examples of renewable energy sources. They will go ahead and fund the next generation of machines and turbines because the drive to manufacture Bitcoin is so economically valuable. 90% of dams erected in the United States in the last century have hydroelectricity, but the turbines were never installed. So why install the turbines? Because it's good business if I can use it without being hassled by a carbon audit. This is the way Bitcoin mining will go in the future. They will develop power for all communities while mining coins in an ethical and environmentally friendly manner using hydroelectricity. This speaks to Montana. This speaks to the Tennessee Valley, upstate New York, Quebec, Canada, northern Norway, and all of these places. Georgia has a lot of untapped hydro, and there is where Bitcoin mining will go in the future. It's a good thing too. It provides additional power for communities, and the capital needed is limitless, according to Kevin.
Now, the beautiful strategy here is when we get policy, this is the Loomis bill right here, and there's lots of good news in this thing, when we make Bitcoin an allocation for institutions, which they do not have yet, what I predict will happen, they will put between 50 basis points and 3 basis points or 300 basis points into their portfolios. How much money is that? Trillions of dollars. So if you want to see Bitcoin appreciate in value, if you're an advocate like I am, because it's software and it's a property and maybe it's a currency, you want regulation. You embrace this and you stand back and watch the capital pour into this.
And that's a summary of Kevin O'Leary's speech, where he talked about his belief in the crypto blockchain that will be the S&P's 12th sector, the need for a policy, and all about Bitcoin mining. Thank you for watching. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something from today's video, and to get updated with the next videos, don't forget to hit the notification bell. See you next time.